everybody, it's David and Evelise here, and we are making a video about our unvaccinated children, mainly to spread the word about the hashtag Do the Study. Um, David, tell us why.
Well, we found out that there's never been a study, a gold standard study, if you will, between non-vaccinated children and vaccinated children, and we're helping promote uh,
This movement.
the
Yeah,
movement. Yeah,
yeah.
the movement to get the authorities, whoever that is, CDC, whoever, to do a study showing the differences, the health differences, if you will, between those two groups, and then allow people to see those results and make their own decision about whether or not they want to vaccinate their children.
So here's our video about our children and about our past and our history, and we hope you enjoy it.
Bye.
Hi, my name is David, and this is my wife Elise, and we want to take a few moments and share with you our vaccination story, which it really is a non-vaccination story in the case of our three children. So, Elise?
Yes, hi. When we were married and talking about having children, we started sharing stories of our childhood, and vaccines started coming up, and we talked about how I stopped getting vaccines when I was 5. Vaccinations, all of them at that point. My mom had learned some information and decided to just stop at that point. I had major ear infections all the time and strep throat every 6 months. I was very sick. Kind of those are big things too, not just the normal cold every once in a while. I never had to have my tonsils out, I think, because she stopped. So like around that age, they started talking about it and said, you have to get better. You have to stop having strep throat every 6 months. So anyway, I did. Once we stopped the vaccinations, I didn't have ear infections all the time and strep throat all the time. They definitely went away. I had tubes in my ear. I wasn't able to hear the birds in our yard just outside of the house when we'd go somewhere. I couldn't hear the washing machine at night. When I got the tubes in my ears, I had to ask my mom. I started asking my mom, "What's that noise all the time?" And I received glasses when I was in 2nd grade, and my eyes continued to get worse from that. They said it was from development and the medicines that I was on and the antibiotics and the vaccines, just not being able to develop good eyesight from a young age. So, I also had very bad dental issues my whole life. So those were some of the things that have come up, and that was my childhood as far as that.
And by the way, we were married in 2003. We didn't have the conversation probably till right after we were married. They hadn't had any children yet, so the conversation came up, and primarily because a chiropractor, our chiropractor, but one that you had been using before we even met, he shared with us a book by Dr. Tim O'Shea, and I read the book and I thought it was compelling, and so we made the decision right at the outset that we would not vaccinate our children. Just to back up a little bit, I was vaccinated as a child. Obviously, the vaccine schedule was a lot less when I was born, but regardless, in retrospect, I concluded that vaccines that I took brought on childhood asthma. So that's what I battled when I grew up. Nobody else in my family did. I was the one that had asthma, but eventually, by the time my immune system had developed completely, I outgrew the asthma about the age of 16. And
but you've kind of always had an issue with
right.
lungs and breathing whenever you got sick. Sometimes, and then allergies. You had a lot of allergies that you've since got better from too as well. Also the paralysis.
Right. And then there was one point, maybe I was 9 or 10, that I was like, I couldn't walk for like a week. I remember dragging myself around the house.
Yeah.
No one ever suspected it was vaccines, but again, in retrospect, based on my reading, I concluded that, oh, it's probably I had some kind of reaction to a childhood vaccine, and it brought on some temporary paralysis. It was really bizarre. Never happened again. Going into adulthood, pretty much stayed away from vaccines. I remember, when I was in my early 20s, before I went overseas, I got some shots, and then I there was like one time, probably about 23 years ago, thereabouts, that I got a flu shot, and I think I got the flu as a result. So I never, got the flu shot. Regardless, back to our children, we made the decision not to vaccinate just based on what we were reading, and concluded that, yeah, this is not necessary for good health. And
well, all the research that we went in search of was that there was no research, right? That there was no safety studies or anything done on any of the vaccines. So all we could see were where children didn't have vaccines, they were healthier. And there was so much information in that book that it really helped us. And then I continued to study some and share some with other families who were in the same boat and researching, because we didn't just stop researching or just read one book.
Right.
We continued that research. We continued the sharing of information that we received from other parents, looking at each different vaccine. And really it just came to not one vaccine was going to promise us safe and effective, results for our children. So we chose to forego all of them.
So we want to show you our children now, and their ages 13, 12, and 9.
Let me preface real quick though. Okay, so they're 13, 12, and 9. Never had once a vaccine. They've also never ever needed antibiotics. We've had maybe 2 ear infections that were taken care of by using garlic drops and immune support, vitamin C and things like that. They cleared up on their own really quickly. We've taken them to the doctors, naturopathic doctors, naturopathic pediatricians, regular MDs, pediatric MDs, and therefore, so we knew there was an ear infection, and we also knew that it was cleared up. Maybe a couple pink eyes, and chickenpox. We got chickenpox and lived through that. No problems, no side effects, and no hospitalizations. No one's ever had a major illness. So we have done everything we can to support their immune system, create an environment that was very minimal toxins as possible, so that they had a healthy immune system. Fresh water, clean water, not chlorinated water, no fluoride, and things like that to help them to fight off anything that came about. Yes, they've probably had the flu once or twice, but it was very light, in a couple days and over and done with, and they were fine.
Well, that's the thing that we've really noticed. Their immune systems are super strong. When they do get a little something, on the rare occasion, it's like a rock skipping off the water. They're just, it's like never develops into anything really serious or bad. I mean, it's amazing to watch, because I remember as a child how sick I would get when I would get a lot of colds, and it would develop into asthma, and it was really uncomfortable as a child. And to watch our own children be so healthy, and
I wish you were like that too.
It's like, wow, I could have had that. It's pretty amazing.
The other thing is the compliments that we get about our children, as far as how aware they are, how kind of how they light up, how their eye contact is good. They're very energetic, and that's the other thing I've noticed a lot with children who are not vaccinated, is they have a lot of energy, and they're very vibrant type children. Even Channing, my middle son, who's very shy and quiet, and like his daddy, but he still has a personality that comes out. And I just remember as a baby, he was always so happy, and it's just really hard to not see that in other children. But
just to give you a little bit of background, for those of you who watch and don't know us, who are these people? A lot of people want to know, okay, what's their background, what's their educational background. So I have a degree in English from San Diego State University. Elise has a degree in education from Northern Arizona University. I was a certified financial planner for a number of years, investment advisor, and so that's kind of our background.
Education is very big in our lives. We are educators. We are teaching right now, currently in Taiwan. We're teaching English. We also travel. That's the other thing.
Right.
We haven't been afraid to take our children places like Mexico.
Right.
Ton of times, a lot of times, and to Taiwan and Canada.
And I'm glad you brought up Taiwan, because right here in Taiwan, it's really interesting because the students that we teach, they're pretty much on the vaccine, treadmill. Most of them, there might be some exceptions, but they're on the, going to the doctor.
Always taking medicine, always getting sick.
Always getting sick, always taking medicine. And our children are sitting there around these children all the time.
Every day, all day.
Every day, all day. And
we haven't been to the doctor once.
We haven't been to the doctor
I think we've had
once.
They've each had maybe one cold.
Yeah.
Maybe since we've been here. Or like they'll get a little sore throat and then they have some honey lemon tea and some vitamins.
So it's amazing to watch and see how healthy they are around all of these sick children.
So we're very grateful that we've been given the information in time, and that very grateful that we were able to have that information and use it to help our children have a good start in their life and being healthy and active.
And I hope you find our story helpful.